Well, hi everybody, it's Doug. Time for a challenge lock. This one's called Read and Burn. Comes to us from Average Picker, or actually created by Average Picker. I received it through AJ Clark, who I'm fairly sure I remember seeing pick this one as well. Again, Read and Burn. So let's get this thing into the vise so we can get started on the pick, and then we'll gut this after it's done. And a couple of notes as we go will be that first of all, number one, I'm planning on picking this with this particular pick out of my new Valerian set. I've never used this pick before, and I've therefore never used it on this lock. But the other fact that goes with this is I picked this lock, this is 3 times. The third time was just to sort of make sure I really understood what I was getting into. It was an interesting thing. Basically, I tried picking this clockwise, and this is sort of a great lesson for newer pickers. I tried picking this clockwise 3 separate occasions. Each time I went on and on and on, couldn't get anywhere. Then switched to counterclockwise, especially having seen AJ Clark, who tends to pick counterclockwise anyways. Obviously, if you're picking a padlock, clockwise is your only choice unless it's like a herd. But counterclockwise is a great option, and I found that I got through this thing many times counterclockwise. So that should get us a much faster pick and get you guys in and out of here faster. So let's get started. Nothing going on 1. Number 2 is kind of loose. 3 gave me a click and a little bit of turn on the core. 4 and 5 seem kind of floppy right now. Back to 1, which is now giving some resistance and moved when I pressed on it. A little bit of movement to 2, nothing. 3 gave me a click. 4 gave me a click. And 5 is kind of spongy. Back to 1. So I'm getting, this is definitely a little more bendy of a pick. Might be the length of the shank, might be the actual nature of the pick. Now look at all of that turn on the core. So 1, nothing. 2, there we go. And I think, wow, look at that deep falset. But yet we're not in there yet. 3, 4, nothing. 5. Nothing there, so I'm going to go back to 1, then 2, must be 3, 4, and 5. Interesting. So it's kind of doing some weird things. Also very loose. So what I did was I backed off just a little bit because I think I might have locked myself into something with that hard turn on the core. 4. I don't know. 5. There we go. So 5 was fighting, and I actually kind of counter-rotated. I pulled backwards on my the tension, and that gave 5 the chance to make it through. Okay, huge counter rotation on 5 as I pressed it. There's 1 again, gave me a little rotation. There's 2 is trying to get through, and there we are. We are in. Okay, so time for some guts. Because I can, I will lock it back up. I guess so. Leave that out for the moment. This has got the, I'm used to seeing Phillips screws on the tail piece, but takes all kinds, as they say. So again, like I said, basically I could have been here for another 10 minutes trying to pick that thing clockwise. Counterclockwise was the game, and there's no sin in that. If you find some strangeness, just try that alternate direction. Let us see. This will be an interesting one. It's a pretty tight feel in the core. Let's see what we've got going on. I'm going to turn the key this way so we can see the pins as it comes out. Alrighty. So there are the pins. Looks like a little narrowing on 2. Get our shim out of the way for later. Okay. Oh, interestingness. So let's start dumping the pins. There's pin 1. Interesting, shapely. 3. 3, whoa, 3 has some really interesting levels of stuff on it. Let's take a quick look at the core, or the plug rather. I don't think there's anything going on in the plug, but let us try. No counter milling on the plug. And we got 5 pins there in a 6-pin core, just to note that. Alrighty. Up top, pin 1 has some spooling going on. Pin 2, let's dump that. Wow, that's like a Stanley Cup. Like a chess piece, actually. And I can already, we'll take a look at the springs next. There's number 3. I'll hold it up for you because I know you want to see it. Okay. Let's take those springs out while we're here. All copper standard-y looking springs. Okay. Another shapely looking one in 5. And finally, number 4 comes shooting out, courtesy of a very strong feeling spring. And we've got some, well, it's like some narrowing. It's hard to say whether that is actually special, but we'll take a look and we'll get that last spring out for you. Alrighty, some close-ups on the pins. Okay, crafty number 1 key pin. Hello. where's the camera? Number 2, it has sort of a couple narrowings. Now this is the one that, look at that one. That is like, it belongs on a railing, holding up a railing. That one, that's number 4, and has like a neat little spool on the top. And finally, number 5, just narrowed at the top, not quite spooled, but it probably would behave like one. Top number 1 has that spool towards the bottom half of it. This is the one that I showed you before, the Stanley Cup sort of thing. It was 2. Number 3 has that spooling and a wider lip at the bottom. 4 has sort of a narrowing to it. I'm definitely going to have to check how that one came out, because I think it might have been intended to go, I think it was like this, so it catches. And finally, number 5, kind of similar to number 3. Alrighty, there you go. So that was Read and Burn from Average Picker. Thanks everybody for joining me. As usual, I want to hear your comments. I always appreciate likes, and please, if you haven't already done so, do subscribe. Appreciate everybody. Thank you all for your support. We'll keep it on moving. Take care and have a great one, everybody.